We had to sort of do, like, I guess, three things in parallel in the course of '99 as we were getting the company started. One was recruiting people, and it was a challenge because basically it was very hard to recruit people into this totally untried company. But besides selling employees, we had to sell investors, and we had to ultimately sell customers to use the product. And we had to, in the course, figure out a usable product. I spent, as the CEO of the company, one of the less pleasant but fairly important jobs was spending an awful lot of time meeting with investors. I probably had about 100 different pitches to investors in the course of 1999. And while individually they all knew a lot less about what we were doing, collectively they were actually somewhat informed. And it's an excruciating process. I mean, '99 was supposed to be this incredible boom year, but even so, at any given time in Silicon Valley, there are about 10,000 business plans getting circulated. Maybe 300 of them get funded by venture capitalists in any given quarter, and then you typically have a new 10,000 come in the next quarter. So it was this ongoing, crazy process, and you basically and it's a somewhat arbitrary process. You don't really know who to talk to. It was one of the it started with the first round we did in February '99 was a bunch of sort of angel friends and family. One of the people I met at a Chinese food restaurant, he told me, "I never know what to invest in. We will just see what the fortune cookie says at the end of the meal." And of course, it was very positive, but that was still apparently not decisive. They ended up not investing. The most intriguing one, however, was there was a group of two Australian mathematicians who had decided that because it's so hard to figure out what companies to invest in, that they were going to come up with a mathematical formula to predict which startup companies one should invest in and which ones should not. And they'd started a fund called Gödel Capital, named after the famous 20th century mathematician. And the first meeting was 8 hours in San Diego in a stuffy room without any water, pitching them on it. And then the second one was a week later in Manhattan, 3 hours walking in the freezing cold. One of them wanted to take a walk. It was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And I wasn't wearing any warm clothes. So it was I figured just after this endurance, they should be writing me a huge check. And then they say, well, we're maybe going to invest $50,000. But unfortunately, the mathematical formula, the mathematical formula always returned that they could never decide, which was somewhat, I guess, was appropriate and yet ironic given the name of the fund they had set up. And it turned out that for most companies it was totally undecidable. And it was not totally intentional on my part, but I told them, well, such a great opportunity, I'll let you invest and give you a 2-week option to get your money back. Free option, for 2 weeks you can take the money back, but you have to decide now. And well, they plugged that in. Mathematical formula told them, free option, 2 weeks, that's fine. We'll put in the $50,000. And then 2 weeks later, predictably enough, formula once again told them couldn't decide whether or not to invest. But at this point, the default had been shifted. The money was in the company, and they didn't decide to pull it out. And so they stayed as investors. We were actually one of the very few companies Gödel Capital invested in.